Today is Chav Gimel Shvat Samech Tes. We're finishing up the mimer on we're on Amid Yud Ches of mimer in Rabbi Rishav's Samech Tes.
Okay. Right, so we saw that the Ika Agila Elakus was Befriende Shechude Iloa in the Indian from Das Elyon, but we saw that the Ikam Shocher of Elakus Lamata Mata in our even from Dira Betaktenim was Davke Alidei, the Indian of Das Takte. And we saw that the Indian from Das Elyon and Das Takte they were the Inyonim of Bechine Shechude Iloa and Yechude Ta and Bechine Shechude Tatora. And we saw that the Ikke Indian of Bittel Hayesh Lamata was the Schabras of the two Bechines of Yechude Iloa and Yechude Tatora, the joining of the two of them together in a form of Yechud V'Schabras. And that's basically where we were holding. And we saw that both of these inyonim, both the Das Elim, Das Taktim were Klulim in Elakus, that they were two different Oifanim of Gile Elakus, how it is Mitzad the Rebishter himself. And that's what we saw was a view in Keil, Deis, Havaya, that the Eibishter is a Keil Deis, that he, in his Elakus, he's Koil the two inyonim of Das Elyon and Das Takte. And we saw that Das Elyon was the union of Lamayla Yesh and Lamata Ayin, and we saw that Das Takte was Lamata Yesh and Lamayla Ayin. And so really it follows that the Pirush of Ayin in the two inyonim is different. That when we say that the Das Elyon, Lamayla Yesh or Lamata Ayin, then that means that the Lamata is Bemis Botil B'Metzias, but Ayin means F is for Ayin Ve'etzem HaMahus. In other words, the Biur Amiti in the word Ayin. But when we say Das Taktein is Lamata Yesh or Lamayla Ayin, then the Kavanah is that Ayin is a Shlila of the Metzias of the Das Taktein. In other words, that he feels himself to be Metzias, and he says that the Elakus is Ayin, and meaning not him, not Musag, and not Murgash by him. Therefore, the word Ayin is only a negative stam, a negative grader, where he negates his state of being Legabi Elakus. Therefore, he says that Legabi me, Elakus is not Yatua, not Murgash, it's Ayin in a sense, not me. Therefore, the two inyonim of Ayin have a different pirushim. However, we saw Davki Das Taktin was the Ika Kavona, and Davki through the Das Taktin. Well, that's the bittul of the Yesh to the Ayin. Now, when you say the bittul of the Yesh to the Ayin, then we have to ask ourselves the question, what is the Yesh being bottled to? If he doesn't really know what Elakus is, and he's not really Masig Elakus BMS, all he knows is a Yediyah Klolius Beneget Elakus. He doesn't really have any Yediyah Mahusias Klau in Elakus. Then what does it mean? Bittul Hayesh Elam Ayin, to what is he really being? To what is he really being bottled? Nonetheless, we'll soon deal with that in a second. Davki Eilidei, that Bittul Hayesh, then it's completed the whole Kavana Elyon Aliyah Yisrael Yisborach Dira B'Tach Teinim Sheyeh Gile Elakus Lamata, that it should be Davki Gile Elakus, meaning Gile Elakus out is by the Eibishter Davki Lamata. Hagam, that's what we started with this evening with that line. She'ika Gile Elakus B'Chinas Yechude Iloa B'Chinas Das Elyon. Even though the truth of the matter is that Ika Gile Elakus is really in the Yiniv and Das Das Elyon. Doch wie soll kann das sein? The Tafkid for Bitla Yesh, there'll be the Gilui Elikus Lamata, meaning Gilui Etzem Elikus, Gilui Elikus PMS, that will be Miskala Lamata, Alidei the Bitla, the Yesh Ela. I mean, he doesn't know anything about Elikus, and his Bitla is only how do we call it? A kalimerish, a bittel. It's a sort of a bittel. It's not a bittel. And yet, nonetheless, Dafke Ali Deder, it's Nimshach, Gile Elikus Lamata, even von Dire Betach Toinim, or that's Mashma Etzem Elikus, Atzma Saint Safe, and Nimshach Lamata. And so that's what we began by saying, Vainian hu Dalidei Bechinas Yehuda Tatua. Shehu Bittel Hayesh, Nas Alidei Ze is Chabras, Beis Abachinas, the Yehudi Eloah, Yehuda Tatua. That precisely through the inyan of Yehuda Tatua, the Bittel Adeyesh to the Ayin, then that causes a joining together, a Chabras, a becoming one, as it were, of the two levels, Yehudi Eloah, Yehuda Tatua. Ukamaima is a statement in the Posik Eliyahu. No, I'm sorry, in the Zohar HaKodesh. Not the Posik Eliyahu, that's another thing. In the Zohar HaKodesh, which we say in the davening on Shabbos night, on Leil Shabbos, just before Borchu, we say a passage from the Zohar. We quote a passage from the Zohar, Pasha Truma. Now there it's written that Kigavne de Inun Mishachadin Le'elo Be'echod, but that's the Inun of Yehuda Eloah, Uf Hochi Ihi Is Yechades L'Sata Beroza D'Echod. In other words, it's just like Kigavne means Kimoy, or in the same way. The Inun meaning the Sphira Saraya and Olam Atzilas. In other words, in Olam Atzilas is Das Elyon. Mishyachtim le'elo bi'echod, that they are all uniting together in echod. In other words, whereabouts le'elo above in Olam Atzilas, they're all being mishyached together in a state of elyon, of ilui, in echod. And notice here that he just says that mishyachtim bi'echod, not beroza di'echod, no bi'echod. The Mishachadim in the Emesa Inyan of Bittel in Elikus is well known that Echad is Tafke when you have already a gili of certain details and they all become bottle from their Matthias and they are bottle in the Alufi Shalelam, in the one and only, which is the Eibishter. So that Emesa Bittel, that's in Olam Atzilas, where they all, even though you got Spheres, or they all give away their Matthias and they're all betalim, but Matthias legabe alaf alufishal olam, what that's the inyan from Olam Atzilas, as it's called in Lashon HaKabbalah, Olam HaAktus. Everything there is botel betachlis per Matthias, even though there's a certain Matthias of the spheres over there, betalim legamri b'Matthias in Elikus, and therefore they're called mishachadim le'elo in the most high level of Gil Elikus in Atzilas bi'echod. Yeah, well, that's the inyan of Yehuda Eloah. Now that Bechinas Yehuda Eloah, that's not written in the Zohar. Bechinas Yehuda Eloah, that's what we're just putting in. That's the inyan of Yehuda Eloah. In other words, Bittel, complete and utter Bittel b'Matthias in Elikus. Uf Hochi, similar to that, Ihi is Yechades L'Sato Beroza De'echod. Bechinas Yehuda Tatua. Ihi is referring to Malchus. Spheres of Malchus. Is Yechades L'Sato. She causes a Bittel and a Yichud in the Spheres Haraya Latato. In other words, the Spheres are already made into Olam HaBrio, into the Olam Nifrodim of Alidei der Bittel to Malchus. What is it in from Bittel, the Bittel Hayesh? In Olam Biyah is already Bittel Hayesh. The Ihi Shechades L'Sato, she causes, Malchus causes a Bittel in the Spheres Haraya in Olam Biyah, that they're Betelim, Bittel Hayesh to Malchus, Beroza di Echad. That's already only in the secret of Echad, not the Gilu Echad, but the secret, the Roza of Echad. Yeah, because ultimately the same inyan is me'ir in Yehuda Tato as in Yehuda Eloah, but it's not murgash, it's not felt. However, the bittul that they have, bittul yesh, or that involves them in the inyan al-chaponim of a bittul beroza diechot, that they give away themselves. If a bittul hayesh to the inyan from elachus al-techon, that's bechinas Yehuda Tato. However, it goes on there a few other words, and then it continues, lemehevi echod be'echod, in order to be one echod united with the other. Lemehevi echod be'echod. Hainu, hayichud yichudi Eloah v'yichud Tato, the joining together of Yichud Eloah in Yichud Tato, shezeu dafki alidei ha'aveda de bitla yesh lo ayin la. That is dafki through the union of bitla yesh lo ayin here lamata, or that causes the union of the yichud of Yichud Eloah and Yichud Tato. So the intelligent reader immediately asks himself the Gewaldige Shaila, how does the fact that you're bottled in Mariv from bitla yesh lo ayin, how does that cause a yichud with Yichud Eloah? Yichud Tato doesn't have any Shaykhs to Yichud Eloah, kommt nicht to Yichud Eloah. So how would you say that dafki ad yedei the bittul of the yesh el ayin, that you cause the yichud of echad be echad, but the echad is harishon is emes echad, does emes echad out is an atzilus le'elo, and that comes down and unites with the is yachadis it comes down in even leo is echad be echad, that the two echad should join together. Yichud Eloah should be meya in Yichud Tato. He said that's precisely true. The bittul hayesh lo ayin la matter. And in addition to that, not only that, but furthermore, shali deizeh nimshach giver elin shemayla gamim b'chira Yichud Eloah. He said that through that there's nimshach, such a level in Elokus which is higher even in Yichud Eloah. For who inyan keil deyois, well, that's the Shem keil, meaning Elokus, how he's koil the both days. Keil beis hadayas, he's koil himself both of those inyanim of Yichud Eloah of Yichud Tato. Di'im yoisem v'choikim zem izakanal, mikol mochim b'chinas atzmes zein seif koilo beis hama. He said, even though they're very distant one from the other, Yichud Eloah is mamish yemes agila lakus Yichud Tato is just bitla yesh ela adabuti yadua keilo. Even though they're tremendously different one from the other, nonetheless the level of keil, which is etzem elakus, or this is koilo beis hadayas, that's koilo both of them together, despite the fact that they are koichim zemi zeh. Mikol mochim b'chinas atzmas ein seif koilo beis hamadreges yachad, umishom nimshach liya is chabris beis hadayas, and from there is nimshach to be these chabris of the beis hadayas. All right, we should do it. I mean, we just said that the chabris of the beis hadayas was only the avoid of das takta dafki. After the avoid of das takta, and he calls it chabris of Yichud Eloah, Yichud Tato, das elin with das takta. And now he says that these chabris of both of them is through the oil, which is mitzad atzmus mamish l'mayla mishneihem yachad. Well, that's what causes these chabris of both of them. Aber ich verstehe nicht. Das ist Keil Belawach gebaut hat. Keil der so beatmes, das ist Keil Belawach gebaut hat dann. Yeah, so what do you say? Your mamshik that in Lavata is mamera. Both of them become nichlau in that, because Belawach B'Sheres, that's how it is. He's Keil Shneim, being as he is in from Atzmas. I don't ever say, why do you say that it's Dafki Alidei Aveda, the Bittul of the Yeshela? So we have to, we'll soon come back to that in a minute. Ulazais, yeah, his chabrusam Ulazais be his chabrusam, through their joining together, may a gilui elien yoiser. Well, from that sentence it's mashma that first of all they join together and they become one, and then there's nimshach the elyon. Yes. Lo behis chabrusam meir giler elyon. Yes. Elim Cain will teach the dafke the elyon. Yes. That's what causes the yischabus. And then when you want to join them together, then you have to have a giler elyon. Yes. And that makes sense because we have a klal where we got two inyonim which are kilu menagdim zelazeh or choikim zelazeh, in order to have a door which is going to join them together. You've got to bring from a madrega which is ein roich lamayla mishneihem, and therefore that madrega which is keil, and that's mitzad the atzmus is koilu, or that causes both of them to join together. V'zeu keil deis havayis shneihem elakus v'alidei abitul the das takshin nimshach gilui aselim b'das taktein v'gam v'chinas atzm saying seif shalamayla midas. So that would tend to appear is that first of all ein chanami. There's a etzim joining together of das elim and das taktein, and that's on the day the avodah of das taktein. And once that occurs, then there's miskala disinya from atzmus, which is lamayla mishnayim, and then it's kilu koil of them in our even from further his chabras, maybe in our even naila yoter. Of al chaponim would appear from that lotion that it's like two steps. First of all, there's a joining of the two of them together, and then there's meir disvayer elyain yesa, which is really the shoyrish, which is koil shneihem keil dayois, and that's an inyan atzmi in alakus lamailami kol ishtalshalos or kol giluyim ilames, and that's koil both the inyanim together. And when that's meir, then both of them how do you call it, mischabrim oidapam or mischabrim in a higher even, and there's a much higher giui of elakus. Also to shaila, what does he do? I mean, it's either that way or that way. And why would we say that alidei the aveda of das taktin, through that you cause the hischabras of das taktin with das elyon? He just said himself that they're rechoikim zemizeh, they're completely distant one from the other. In the etzim gilu and in the etzim aveda, they're berichuch gomo v'tachlis arichuch zemizeh. How is it, and how is a child to say that at the day the avodah from das taktin you cause these chavras of das taktin v'das elyon? On Befrat, the kasha becomes even more strong. That, like we pointed out earlier, das taktin doesn't really have any great deal of das. But all he knows is, that there's such a thing as elakus, and he's got to be botem. I mean, he doesn't really know anything much about elakus, with all due respect to all parties concerned. He doesn't really know a great deal about elakus. How it became is the day das taktin that causes these chavos of das avodah of das taktin or bitla yesh, or that causes the guns, and that's ultimately dira betach toinim. You can't cause the ina from yichud das elim v'das taktin. Why did they say? Come to up elamata atzma saying say keil day with these keil beide. Gorevs a political zach. So I can see that the Shiloh bothers everybody pink to say Shvat, but nonetheless it's a very profound Indian. We have to understand in particularly that I don't know if anybody noticed, but I mean we see the amazing pellet. And had we learned on Sunday night, it would have even been more than a pellet, but even on Tuesday, not even though it's only Tuesday night, so we've already gone out of Havdalah from the Shabbos She'ovra. Everybody noticed that in the Maimon Torah era, from Moshe Yadaver, Hashem Yaneinu B'Koil, Horishay, the first one, B'Diva Maschaseh, the Alter Rebbe is is mamish masbet the sinner from Yehuda, the Yichud of Yehuda Tato, Yehuda Eloi, masbet the Yichud of the two Madreigas, and he connects it with this posik Kikeol Dei Isa, Avaya Veloy Nishkanu Alilois, but that's a hemshikar Tfilos Chana, and he's masbet Veloy Yehuda Tato, Yehuda Eloi, with a ganze, ja, with a ganze Bio, ja, Badova dort. And how did these chavras of Yehuda Eloi and Yehuda Tatua, and that was used to from Matan Torah, and that causes a Gilui Elakus, Lamata Kamoila, Lamaila, that there's then a Gilui Elakus down in this world, Pink to see if he says Lamaila. This is a Pelletikitach, and that's what the Rebbe means here, that it's a Gilui of Atzmis Lamata, Dira Betar. And that's what he makes over there, the point in the mind of the Alter Rebbe, that they always, with all the tremendous mileage in their Aveda, they weren't able to be mamshik that inyan, because they were mamshik be'ikah in Elakus in Elam Yisrael, Yainim, but the Uftu from Matan Torah was that a Yid Lamat has got the ability to be mamshik Atzmas Ein Seifla Mata, B'zeh Ha'elam, and this is Liyached Yehuda Tator, Im Yehuda Eloi Mamish. Until there's a inyan for Gila Elakus Lamata Kamoila Lamaila. So Savage, he said, what are you doing? So over there, he's masbid that doesn't mitzad the goyd la'ilu, there isn't Torah or mitzvahs that were given by Sinai. And he says that alilois, the inyan from alilois, lo'i nishkanu alilois, or there's a mitzvahs aseh, mitzvahs Torah, mitzvahs aseh, mitzvahs lois aseh. In other words, the true mitzvahs, she can be mamshik Gil Elakus, even that before Matan Torah, the type of mitzvahs wasn't shaykh azam in Sortinian. But here, the Rebbe just says the avoida bebitl hayesh. There seems to be some nakudi here, different in the Hezbollah in this moment. The Rebbe said there's avoida in bitl hayesh, but it ain't bitl hayesh that causes automatically this chabas of bitl hayesh in Yehuda Eloi, in bitl amiti, in Yehuda Eloi, and then they join together. And B'mela you got these chabas of the two inyanim lamata lamehevi echad be echad. The echad of the Eibishter is meir and the echad of the Adaniver Lamata Gila Lakus Lamata, and the Rebbe says you mamshich even the etzem keil Lamata, the inyan von Atzmis, the diraloi is bara betach, betach toinim. So was it a mile of bitl hayesh ela la'ayin? But the Alter Rebbe connects it over there in the Maimah somewhat with the inyan from mitzvahs. What is the inyan from bitl hayesh la'ayin? So the point is, there's brought down in the famous Hemshech from Tofrei Samech Aleph, what he were opened by Samech Tes, already running ahead. In Samech Aleph, at the end of the Maimon in Sukkah, there's a very famous passage over there. But the Rebbe says that Tafki in the inyan from Bitl Hayesh, you mamshik the inyan from Atzmas Ein Seifla Lamata, and the whole inyan from Amiti is Gilui Hayichud Ha'elyon, with all the inyanim and Pili Plois from Azach. The Tafka when the Nivra Kamoishahu becomes Botel, even that he's able to be Botel, Bitl Hayesh, Ali Dezeh, is Mamshich Al Inyanim Lamata. Mata, the busy embassy in van een oei, the mil vadoi, busy in van een oei, the without the mil vadoi, or that is dafkari bitl hayesh. What's it do? A bitl hayesh, he doesn't know anything of bitl hayesh. Was your vice there? How can you say this mamshik in van een oei mil, vadoi busy in van een oei? Right, I can see a couple of slight impatient chuckles on the side of certain people. They want to know something. What is going on around here? So the answer is to say, if we think about it, and when it's been in, Dafka Minch is bottling over Bitl Hayesh. What are the tights? He doesn't know anything. He don't know. If it was his bottle, bottle. Somebody who's Masik Yehuda Eloi, Masik Dinim from Das Elim, why shouldn't he be bottled? He's Masik all the Seidas Elyonim and Masik all the Eros Elyonim, and all the Seides and the Rosim and Torah and Mitzvahs, he's Masik Elakuz, and he's got a Hoicha Neshama Mistam. And so therefore he's bottled because he has Bishvil Ma'ah. I mean, somebody who's a Yesh and he feels himself a Yesh, I mean, what's he bottled to? Her Gufa, that's what the Gemara says, he are no sinners. Yeah, the Kasha does Gufa the Terrat. In the Kasha Gufa leaked the Terrat. In other words, the Davki because he doesn't know anything. A Davki because he's not Masi. And Afal Pikain, he's bottled. Then when he's bottled absolutely. He's had some Matthias because he has nothing what to be bottled for. If he's bottled, then the Tais is giving everything away. Ein lo shum dover le'atzmo yoter. And Mamela come to us that when a man who's a Davke a Yesh is bottled, then at that particular moment is Meir Atzmus Rotzen Hashem. Why did he do that? Ein lo shum siva. He doesn't have all the Giluim, aber ich will mal was sagen, menit ber sei will der Ewigste. He knows, ja, das allein weiß der Ewigste will sein. And Mamela Boisha Harega, he's bottled the coal etzum Matziyusai. Ein Bittel Meile me. He said, this is a beetle otzum she'ein kamoyo. After when you don't know, and after became to give yourself away, and that's a bottle, that's a beetle, how they call it, it's a mapintel. As the old Polish expression has it in pupikarai. That means in the, how they call it, in the navel, right, deep inside the stomach. In other words, that's a, how they call it, etzim beetle in the etzim, machias, the Nivra. And on the contrary, only a Nivra can make such a bittul. Because something which is anyway a Malach Elyon or a Sphiras, they can't have that total, but they got a Malachat Kila. Or that they should have everything which is Kilo Managid Lazeh. And after we became to give yourself away, and this is Azar Bittul, which is Bittul Be'etzim Mahus. This is Azar Bittul Nishto. And in fact, when the Indian from Bittul Ayesh functions the way it should be, that the man feels himself to be a Yesh, and he does a mitzvah, he does a Indian, there's a Rotz and an alien, and that's the only reason he does it Bilvad. Nicht mitzad Ava, nicht mitzad Dira, nicht mitzad, no, he does it well, those Rotz and Hashem, aber euch Reger, das ist ein Oid, nicht nur ein Oid Movadin, no, das ist Mamish ein Oid. That causes the Yehudi law, Yehudi law comes running, Yehudi law, as you might say, wants to join up with her, because that's even hecher wie der Bittel von Yehudi law. In etzem Bittel, etzem Nekudis, how do you call it, Yoiker, Habittel, what's more than Yehudi law? And if Yehudi law, Davke wants to join up with us, I mean, so ja, because Legabi Yehudi Tatoa Amiti, Yehudi law is only Gilui. It's only revelations. And doesn't be etzem, doesn't mamshik atzma saying ain't saved. And the fact that's another Indian we could suggest. That's a further Indian after the Yesh has given himself away, but Beetle called etzem mahusai. Has given himself away to the Nakuda, Beetle to Elakus and Nakuda Sarots and Mamish. Yeah? And he's been mavatl himself. Ayemot, come to gain. Azamin Gilev Atzma saying save, which is Lamaila Melegami me Shneihem on his koil Zebaida. In other words, at Kaviyacho, then Atzma saying save is Nimshakla Mata, and that becomes Dira Betach Toinim. We can Mamshik sein Atzma saying save Lamata. So we have to say that that's Nachas Ruach Lafanai Shomati Vanasere Retaini. You guys are doubtless aware of the fact that Rashi brings down that Maimah Chazal at the beginning of Sefer Vayikra Mamish in the first few Pesukim, where state on it when you get to the Korban, the union from Korbanis and the union from Korban Eilah. Bring Rashi to it that the Abish says Nachas Ruach Lafanai Reach Nichoyach LaHashem. Taich Rashi Nichoyach from Lashon Nachas. So Rashi said, Nachas Ruach Lafanai Shamati V'Nazir Retaini. Shamati V'Nazir. I said, and by wouldn't bring down. And he said, Chai V'Kayim. And that's nachas ruach lefanai. Dafke when it's kibbutz or beetle for the yesh mamish in the evening key portion. So the whole beer from the Rebbe Melech HaMashiach. And one of the secrets where the Rebbe is mind will from which dafke by a korban or first dafke by a korban noilo. This is and be can't wait. What do you do with a korban? You take a behemoth after you burn it on the mizbeach, and it just becomes a lot of bones and fire and all sorts of stuff. What does he do it? What does the man have in that? What does he see? Ma korel over there. Burn the behemoth on the mizbeach. Shalom aleichem. The belief and the knowledge and that is a dover haki naila. When the mensch does that, he's mevatel kol metiyusa. He doesn't see, all he sees is a burnt piece of meat. That's what it is. That's what you Afu Vikain, he believes and he gives himself away. But Bitul Gomer to the Indian of Etzem Melakus. As nachas ruach lefanai, yeshomati v'nasir etzaini. That David said, that's what I wanted. You guys did it. Nachas ruach lefanai. In pnimius v'atzma and if that's the Indian why dafke al yidei avoida b'bitla yesh mischabrim the das taktiv v'das Eliam, because the das Eliam comes running. Yeah, as I'm in Indian, as I'm in Gila for Atzmius, a Yichud, and Ishtar, therefore, Yichud Elah is Nimshak, a Mishchaber. And once they join together, then you have what's called a perfect place. You have a place of Yichud. And then Atzmius, Seif Mamish, can be Bover, yeah, Mishkala, V'shoyra Ber, Makim Hazer. And that's what we say, that ain't Kuchabrichu Shalir Ela Ba'asar Shlim. Only when you have a peace between two opposites, well, that's where we have Atzma Saint Seif. In other words, we have the union from the Yichud of the two Inyonim Hafochim, and that's what he said, the Rechoichim Zemizeh, the Rechoichim Zemizeh Betachlis Lechoyim. Amamira, that's the sword. And that's the union, Pnimi, what the Rebbe is Masbi here, the Tafkari Dei Zeh, through the Yichud of the Das Elin, the Das Tachten, through the Aveda from Das Tachten, well, that causes a further step, a further Indian, Gilu ain't Seifler, Matter, and then the Mischabin Oida even Naila Yotel. They become Takas Abitul Mamish, Dira Betaktoinim, even a key Naila Shef Sharak Lataya. That's the Hemshech of the Pasik now. That's the Inim of Zeu, Keil, Deis, Havaya. That both of them, Sheshnei, Hem, Heim, Elikus, both of them in the Eivishtar, and both of them are two different Giluim from the Eivishtar. Validea Beetle, the Das Takten, Nimshe, Gilui, Das Elim, Bidas Takten. Vegam, Bchinas, Atzmasei, and Shefshel, Mailam, Bchinas, Das Elim. Yeah? In other words, the demonstration Nimshech an even higher in. Vulai ze alter with the alter Rebbe in Lekutei Torah, in Pasha Moyer, in the Maimah von Vahene Fakoihein, over the din von Hanofes Sa'ima, the alter Rebbe Masbo, that alidei what you call iskalas, meteors, yeah, a bittel kolamadregas, miskalim, zeh bezeh, then there's Nimshech Atzma Seif, and there's dwell in that Mokim HaYichud. I say yesh lema, that's the hell. Vezehu v'loi nishkanu alilas. Now the hemshech of that pasuk in the Tfilas Chana in Shmuel Aleph, well, it should know there where the Chana said in her prayer, Ki keil deis Hashem. Yeah, the Eibishter is keil deis. V'loi nishkanu alilas. And to him literally is to be counted or attributed alilois, all the plans literally. That's just what it means. So it comes along with the Rashi in almost all the Pashtoni Hamikra, and they say that the word alilois means maaseh. Something that you plan out and you intend doing is usually ba'elam ha'maaseh. Alilois means the infant, for Meiser. V'loi nishkanu, how do you call it? Over the literally the Meisim all become counted. That's how Rashi learns it. Teichen. The word dot by Pare, it's written that he told the Yidden, Teichen Levanim, Lo Yetzeru, it's written that he shouldn't lessen the number of the bricks, even though I'm not going to give you any straw anymore, but Teichen Halevanim, which means literally the content, but it means the number. The other number, Loin Niskanu, literally the Eivshter counts all the Maisim of a mensch. So Taisi Alter Rebbe over there in Torah that we could say that Loin Niskanu Alilois means that literally they all become, how do you call it, united together. All the actions and all the Maisim, all as it were, become equal. You have a Lashon Niskanu, meaning they become like all positive one to the other. Niskanu Alilois, all the Maisim joined together. So that's what the Rebbe is going to say now, that there's two types of Maisim, there's two types of Inyonim. The one way in which your Maisim literally refer to the Eivshter Mamish Harayah Tzad Atzmusei, and then there's a low level how the Eivshter looks at your Maisim. So those, both of them are going to all be equal and joined together, and that's the Pshat Loi Niskanu Alilos, that's the Hemshah. However, in the Nach over there, the word Loi is written with the Aleph. But when you read it with a vav, even though it doesn't sound a great deal different. But people who know Lashon Kodesh properly, is if they read it with a aleph or with a vav, then it's slightly different in between. And if I said the Rebbe Haksiv Loi ba'aleph, what is actually written is Loi with the aleph, Va'kri Loi ba'vav, and the reading of it is a Loi with the vav. V'hainu b'beish deyei sanam. Now that's referring to the two days that we just learned.
Don't we say this also right? Baruch Shamar is also, we see July.
That's right, yeah. It's not the same pasuk, but V'loi anachnu amoy, saying Marisai. Yes? That the written is with the aleph, but the kri is with the vav. Yeah. It's in, that's also similar to what we learned here. The Alter Rebbe is masbir in the Siddur that there's also two inyonim similar to what we learned here. Behind the bebeis days now, the beginning das elyoin. Yeah, das elin liyesh so, but moved to me is since das elin is dark in the which is moved out me is. Veino elam is tefsim mokim klau. And the Elamas don't have any mokim whatsoever. They're betailing b'matziyah. Yeah, lazois shom v'loi ba'alev. Oh, there it's tafki v'loi mita alev. She'eno nogea klau ma'isa hata toini. Whatever you do, and whatever you plan to do, whatever you actually get around to doing, it doesn't really have any significance by the Eivshter, like Eoiv says in the Alter Rebbe, brings it in Tanya, im tzadakta lo ma titoin lo. You know, if you're a tzaddik or the heipel, what does it really matter to the Eivshter ultimately? Oh, that's only in that level of loy mit the aleph, she'eno nogea klau ma'isa ataktoinim. Always a beginner's das taktoin. What in Das Takten show Elamas Teif Simokim, what there the Elamas do have a certain place, because it's only in an even from Yichudata Torah, Hari Shom Veloi Bavov. Oh, that's written the word Loi Mita Avov. Shenogeya V'Teifus Mokim Ma'asa HaTaktein. That there the union of the Ma'asa Taktein do have a place. Yeah? But the union of the two inyonim together is that Loi Mit Loi become one. Yeah, one in, and in the Ma'aser Taktoinim, which are only Nogeya Kaviyoko, in a lower level in Elikus, or they become misbattle and misyachid with the Inifan Loy, and they go up mamish, and they become, as it were, uila into the Madrega von Atzma Saint. Now this is very similar, it's a very similar theme, a very similar Nakuda to what is Mavur in many places. The famous Kashiya, that if the Eivshter knows everything, if mitzad das elyon kaviyol, the Eivshter's knowledge, that he knows everything that before it happened and everything from the very first moment that everything came about until the very last moment that everything will ever be, whenever that's going to be, who knows? Because after the Shit al Vishnin of this world, it's going to be Ad Laneta. The Eivshter knows everything. And I even say, how is it shaykh that our Maisim have any significance? The Abishah knows anyway that what we're going to do is, how can it really have any importance what we do? And that involves the even greater question, how can we be said as having any bechira? Because it's already been known by the Abishah what we're gonna do. I see that everybody tonight is concerned with all these questions with tremendous alacrity and full of enthusiasm for chulu. That's our pasha to shaila. The Rambam asked that famous shaila in Hilchos Tshuva. Sof Perikei, the Rambam asked that question, that if the Abishah knows everything, how can we can have tshuva? And the Ravid gets breakers over there. The Ravid says, hey, Tochen, that you asked us all shaylas, and he asked a very serious question, but he never answered any terror. That's what the Ravid gets angry over there with the whole famous Mash and the whole famous scene was Yadua. Then I get to the Rambam over there, the Psaktin of the Rambam. However, it's a very basic shaila. Yeah, it's a shaila. The Abishah knows everything about it. Shakum again chassidus in many places, and in Torah over there in Pasha Vayero, and Behavi Mekaymes, another place in Torah, and then in other places in the Torah the Alter Rebbe tells about it, and then the Middle Rebbe's got a huge big maimah about it in Pasha Toildi. In the Teres Chaim from the Middle Rebbe, and that is that they say that there's two different levels in Elikus. That mitzad the inyan from loy mita'alev, mitzad the Eivishter mitzad etzem atzmusay, that's a madrega where nothing has any shaykhs, and there the Eivishter knows everything. It's not really nageh one way or another. And then there's another level where the Eivishter lets himself down, Kaviyachol. The Eivishter is mitzamtzim himself, and he puts himself into a level that the Yogelim say, yeah, Teifes Makom, just to see what the Lashmi have here, they do have a certain place, and Legavi that level, there is an afkamina in what we do. And to be mechaber, the two levels together, is at Kaviyachol, even though the level of the Eivishter, how he is, mitzad aleph, no reference to him, doesn't really matter to him one way or the other, and it doesn't cause you to have any choice. Would you make your choice, and you mavatli so. And then the Eivishter in that level also, as it were, comes down, and he's also shoyer in your maasim, even though mitzad etzem mein, and it's not really nogeya of Eivishter chooses, as it were, and that's the inyan von Atav V'Chatanu, the ganze inyan that the Eivishter wants nonetheless that he should act, but even kozeh, and then he's mishachid, the two yichudim become mishachid, one with the idea. And that's what the Rebbe's Maram is here. That alidei the inyan from the kikei of the Eis Havaya, then it becomes loy niskanu ali lois. That then literally Rashi and the Radak and the others over there, they say the pshat that the Eivishter counts all your deeds, and niskanu ali lois, that the Eivishter can be over counts all your deeds. It's the Rebbe here, particularly the Alter Rebbe taught in Torah here, loy niskanu, everything becomes equal. It all becomes like equal. The chesed mitzad yichuda ilah, the chesed mitzad yichuda Torah. What the whole inyan from Amaisa having any significance is only yichuda Torah, just yichuda Torah. Of the Kaviyachol, they all join together, and that the Eivishter Kaviyachol enters and dwells in the Maisa HaOdam, and it becomes that the Odam makes him the Dira, and therefore it becomes in from Dira Loi is Bora Betach Toinim, and Yedei the Maaseh HaTach Toinim Davki through their Maisim, it becomes did. We see this whole in of Yichud, Tachtin V'Tachtin Aliyei the Bina from Bitlayes Davki. Davki Aliyei Zeh, it nimshach Ali Inyanim, wie is the Gile van Atzma saying, safe mamish, Dira Loi is Bora Betach Toinim. Does it that age, the Davki in the Indian from Tak Toinim, that's Davki what they have to want. And that's the whole inyan from Intanya, Perikov Zion, and other places. You see that the Alter Rebbe, how do you call it, elevates the Beinoni at a very noble level. Even though he keeps pointing out the failure of the Beinoni in a way, his fault. He's incapacity. He can't really conquer the Ra. He's he's b'midah mesuyam, he's like a miskin debate. He can't really get beyond a certain point. Of Ba'al is called Avidosif and the Beinin is bitlayeh, and he's busy dafki with Elam, and he's dafki botil. Telakus, oh, das ist ein Fall. Ja, nachas ruach, ja, kadish kafi, sitrachra, stalik yekore, the kuchibrichu b'chuluhu. Alman, as he brings out the Prekov Zion, what does it all? You saw that the Inif and Basila, the first Telikok upon him, the Basila Gani. And we see all the Inyanim all come together, that ultimately speaking, the Ikke is the Ish Poshut in the Inif and Yesh Lamata, and he's Mavatl himself. In the Inif and Bitla Yesh, Ela Ayin, the Tafkidos, in the ultimate Tachlis, and that's Goyrum, the Inif and Diraloy is Barabatach, to him, at a Fakum to Ace, that really, the Bainani is more the ultimate Tachlis than what the Tzaddikim. They come to it. I don't know, he's chuckling away over there, but I don't know what he's chuckling about, because that stuff schlepped him around. I say, you could say, well, you know, I'm just an old slipper, and I'm just a loose, and I am chucking, that slipper. And the tzaddikim, let them run the show. Oh, no, pink for cat. Yeah, the whole thing is put into your hands, duck into the infant, the beinu, duck into the yesh, lamata, bezeh ho'elam, does the ganze tachlis. I say, what do you need the tzaddikim? Okay. And why did the Alter Rebbe, none of us talk about the tzaddikim? So you know the famous bill, the Rebbe Melech Mashiach, the Rebbe said that the tzaddik Gomer from Tanya is really only a tzaddik like a Beinani. He's not the ultimate shlemus of a tzaddik Gomer. He's just like he's a tzaddik how he appears in Sefer Shol, Beinani. Weiß er von der Maas. Aber ist der Tzaddikim gewesen mit Klau oder so. Ein Kohl muss ich Klau, Klau. Was ist der Tzaddikim? And that's a famous Bible. The Alter Rebbe began writing a Sefer Shol Tzaddikim Nishal Beinai. Weißt du? And it went up in fire. But the whole Maas, the Shmoli Zayde, Zayke Tzaddik Livrocha, V'chuli, was ein kind of mokim Lahari Peseh. Why in Cain do we need tzaddikim? I feel like the Sefer Shol Beinai. What is that in the tzaddikim? Because the tzaddikim, they are meir as a derech. They show the way for the Harikot Beinai, for the schleppers. They show the way. And they give the koyach, they'll say the bitla yeshela ayin. Without a tzaddik, without a emes rebbe, yeah, who knows? It could be. You think you bought L'Hayeshel Ayin, but maybe you're not. To be him is a bit L'Hayeshel Ayin. This is a man die gesagt. And that's the two madrigas. Loi mit Aleph and Loi mit A. Oh, comes along the Rebbe now and throws a real little bomber. Hine betevis El yesh Loi v'Eloi. In El there's Loi mit Avav and Loi mit A. Hello, hey you Batlonim, you guys. He should have picked that way from way back. El is, what is El? Is Loi mit Aleph and Loi mit A? Loi mit Avav. V'ayinu is Chabras, the base for Chidus Hanal. That is the joining of the two inyonim of Das Tachtin, bringing to the union of these Chabras of Das Tachtin with Das Eliyah. The commission is Buli Yil da base days Mishchabrim Yochad. They join together, be oz, and then Meir B'chinas Loi be Aleph B'chinas Loi. The other one is Meir into the other. Huinin Gilu Yud Givu Midas Orachamim Hamayirim B'chodesh Elo V'Rosh Hashanah V'Yom HaKeh Purim. He said that Indian Ada Atzmus, which is Miskala, even higher than the Das Elin and the Das Tachtin B'Yachad. He said that's called Yud Gimu Midas HaRachamim. So Rachamim Ma'ad Chashmei, who mentioned Rachamim here. The end of Rachamim is Dakir Azar which is Lamaila Mikol Inyonim and Mikol Medidas V'Hag Agbolah. Because when are you Marachim? Only when there seems to be as you might call, no way out. And then we say, Eivish have Rachman, so have Rachamim. We're talking to see the Rachmanis and Rachamim. Rachamim is higher. You should have Rachamim. That's the Indian, but the Rebbe is going to compare it here to the Indian of coming to the Etzem HaMelech. P'nei Melech, Chayim. Dafka, when you reach the Etzem HaMelech, Vayevelt, you do the Indian from Chayim Dafka. Says the Rebbe, the Yud Gimel, why is it Yud Gimel Midas? Because Yud Gimel is Gematria Echad. That's one of Echad. Echad, the Indian from the Ein Sefer is Lamaila Mea Elements altogether. As one on the famous spear, which Paul considers that Shloishes is the Esa Spheres and then Gimel Rosh Eha HaRoshim. This is Gimel Madregas in Keser. And so Echad is Koil in itself the Madrega Ki Alyena of Keser. And so there the Rebbe says that the Davkim those are when may Irim B'Chodesh El. And then on Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur, Purim, and was the whole 40 days from Rosh Chodesh El until Yom Kippurim. Tehina Yedua the Yud Gimel is a Rachmim Haim B'Keser, what we just pointed out. And not only in Keser Gufa, but Pnimis HaKeser. V'ime Yosh Haim B'Chinas Arich, the Etzemina von Yud Gimel Midas, they're Miskala von the Ine von Arich, as one on. They're connected with Moiches Timur, and Moiches Timur is Davki, the Ine von Pnimis Chokma de Arich. Aber auch auf Purim says the Rebbe, der Miskala through the Ine von Chitonius HaKeser, which is Arich, Mikol Mochim Shoel Shom, who B'Chinas Pnimis HaKeser Davke, Kamosh Kosev B'Mokim, the Shoyrish of the Yud Gimel is Arachmim is really in Pnimi Utah Keser, in the Gimel Rosh HaRoshim, the Madrega Ki Gavoya in Keser. In other words, Mamish from Kisrei Shalamelech, how it is, Bereish in the highest Madrega Sheba Kisrei Shalamelech, and dort is Nimshach, the Yud Gimel Midas Arachmim. V'lochein, hein B'Chinas Rachmim Peshutim. Therefore says the Rebbe, the Rachmim Peshutim, and that's a big milah. The Rachmim Peshutim. What's a milah in Rachmim being Pashut? I'd like him to be rich. I'd like him to be full of some sort of tremendous message. What's the ties Rachmim Peshutim? So we've seen already that the Ine from Pshitas, the Davkim and the Madrega Gavoya Moed. And we saw earlier that the Emes of Madrega Pshitas is Koveya, or it's Goyrem Agiloy Bligvu. That's something which is Mamish Poshet. Be'etzem Minyone Agiloy Mimeno is Bederach Bilti Mugbal. Ki ein Dovashe Yagbilet is a Poshet Petach Pshitas. And therefore his Galus Mimeno is in an even from Bligvu. And there's two types of Rachamim from Klali. And maybe we could say that that's the Indian of Rachmanis and Rachamim. Different types. In other words, there's a Rachamim which is connected with, say, the Davshalas. Dahainu, that it's got some sort of a slapshus in Eze Tam, Shehi, or Eze Indian. You should have Rachmanis because of Indian Kaf, Indian Kaf. Or our Rachmanis was aroused because of this and this, because this Indian, or maybe in other Indianim, not yet, we'll call it, that type of Rachamim is Vadai Ratsui. It's a high Indian and it's a good Indian. It can't go beyond certain Indianim. In other words, like people say, up to a certain point, it's Rachmanis. Over and beyond that, there's a limit. How much are you supposed to have? Rahman. Like the famous, there's an expression of the Gemara in Masechta Chagiga, but the Gemara says that as Misha ein boideya osel rachim alo. That somebody who doesn't have das, then it's forbidden to have any Rahmanis of him. They state in the Gemara. Once I was sitting at a meeting and somebody they said about a certain person, peoples, that they, You shouldn't really be bothered with them because they're shite. They're fools. And here we go. I haven't got any time to deal with fools. And stuff like Karachmanis and Mishain Boiteya also Larachim Allah. So the Rebbe Rashab heard that, and the Rebbe Rashab said, Stel zich voor, was voor meer die Karachmanis af een mens is, als onze Chazal kon het zeggen af hem, also Larachim. You guys don't understand. So the Rebbe Rashab said, just imagine what an unbelievable Rahmanis it is. But as our mensch, what our sages can say, that also Larachim. No, you guys, you don't catch a nuance. Our sages said, also Larachim alov, yeah, Mishain Boida, Mishain Boidea. So the Rebbe Rashab went incomparably different than that. The Rebbe Rashab said, just imagine what's for Rahmanis on a person that our sage can say about it that you're allowed to have any Rahmanis on him. So I say enough what you guys said. You don't chap, you don't chap. You don't understand what he meant. He meant to say that goof is the sign of the most unbelievable Rahman. So what does that mean? I shouldn't any Gemara also Rahim all over. We guys say that's the most terrible Rahmanis of Hamin. Yeah, that's exactly the two different types of Rahmanis. The what the Gemara says, Mishain Boidea also Rahim Malov. We're talking about such Rahmanis that's got some sort of a basis, got some sort of a time. He's a Sibu, he's a Gilui. And if for that, he needs somebody to have a little bit of das to control his action. If he doesn't, then also that type of Rachamim can't reach him. But then it's done under sort Rachamim, but this is Rachamim Pshutim V'Atzmiyim, where they come mitzad Atzmis ain't safe. Or that's Rachamim Davke on everything, anything mitzad Gornish just got any error to like that, and therefore the Rachamim is bleak full, the Rachamim just pours out, and that's the Inian from the Rebbe. I never saw Rebbe, he said, what's for Rachmanis of his Amrish? That the Chazal can say if he was a L'Rachim Allah. If I remember what it was a Rachamim mitzad, Rachamim Peshutim, V'Atzmim, from Atzmim Saint Say. So he said, Malach ein heim beginners Rachamim Pshutim. And I beginners Rachamim Rabbim, V'Rachamim Pshutim, beginners Belivu, who Davke Bayer and Sheikh, I moved down with your Helamet. Davke the Aves is higher, and moved over from all the Helamet. Okay, do it. The Inen Horachamim Ubiyesa Bemishu Hu Gavoya B'Madrega. He said, the higher you go in Madregas of people, then the more they're able to show, and the more they do reveal Rachamim. Akamei Rachamei Hasal, the great minister, he has much more Rachmanis. Heim Yesa Mei Rachamim De Isha Poshu. They're much more than the Rachamim of the Poshu the Mensch. If he's a professor, come over. Umikosh Chain Rachmei HaMelech, and how much more so the Rachamim of Akin Hain B'Yosef Mikula Mekamish Kosev Mochim. That's much more than anybody. Okay, my Kain Yuvan Lamaila, the B'chinas Rachamim Pshutim, who Davki B'chinas Atmas Eirein Seir. Davki in the Eivish, how he is, we have moved on me Eilam, as Davki B'Atzmusa his Bora. Yesh of Harachamon, V'Av Horacha Hamim. The Avarachamon, who begins to Rachmim, the Seidish Taushles, Shahim begins Gavul, Umidal, like we just pointed out, there's certain factors and certain inyonim, which nonetheless determine the Rachamim. Av Harachamim, who begins to Rachmim, there in Shef Shalamarim, Mish Taushles. The Rachamim Misham, Haim begins Bligvu. The Yeshua, he needs something begins to Seidish Taushles. He said, "V'gam klal shishtal zein tevis mokim klal." V'lochein nimshuk mishom harachmim b'chinas blikvu. And that's like we said before. There's rachamim mitzad atam or rachamim mitzad izishu, and then there's rachamim mitzad etzem hareimamas. In other words, the higher and more merumam a person is, and the more other things are not be'erach to him, the more he's able to have rachmanas on all sorts. And when you get the Maila, the Eibishte Mamish Batzmusei, the Mitzad Goydel Harimamus, and the unbelievable greatness Nothing has any error. Therefore, it's a tremendous rachamon of everything, of all inyonim and of alama dreigis and of all inyonim, and that's the pshat of haracha amim. And then there's even of haracha mon. So that's what you see. You guys notice in the machzeh. Rosh Hashanah or Yom Kippur. When is it? We have to say, on Shabbos Tshuva, we say, Micha Mecha Varachamon, Zeichi Yitzurav, L'chayav Barachamim. Then you have to say on Shabbos Tshuva to Mincha, you have to say Micha Mecha Varachamim. You don't say Avarachamon, but you say Avarachamim. And also on Yom Kippur. On Yom Kippur you say Micha Mecha Varachamim. Yeah, but in the Seder Shemei Tshuva you say Micha Mecha Varachamon. So it's an afkimina. There's also other places where it comes in, that sometimes over Rachamon and sometimes over Rachamim. So when it's Mitzad Atzma Seif Mamish, it's over Rachamim. Rachamim, the father of the Rachamim. How he is a moki after him for Rachamim. Rachamon, Metanun, is already got a shaykhs to the Indian of Seide Hishtaushret. However, that's not ultimate Rachamim B'li or ultimate Rachamim B'li Peshutim. Therefore, only at certain moments you say El Rachamim. You come up into Zama Drega where you reach the Rachamim Peshutim. And Mitzad Rachamim Peshutim, everything has a place. Everything has a place. And that's a famous cloud, which we'll do it in the coming shiur a little bit more in detail. The Tafkid is put down in Siddur Saloshin, the Teva HaMurumam, Liyish Marachim ala koil. That the more higher a being is, it's more elevated and energetic like every others, then there's kilo almost in an even teva. Almost without even any questions or any wanting or any necessity, there's nimshut rachmim mitadatzmai. That's called teva hamarumam liyish nimshach el hashafel. They state to us in Kamadrushim. And we'll see that's a level of harachamim. We are asking right now for rachamim per shutim. Nishkin koyach and kintzait. More of rachamim and rachamon and all the know with avon rachamim of rachamim of shutim. And we see that all these guys, they walk around a big circle. They all start off with they thought it was a wonderful idea, tzionis, and all sorts of mises in a Medina, and a whole geschäft, and a whole mass. And, there's a wonderful building, and they go around a great big whacking circle. They all come back, and all these, they're so verhacked now with their crazy elections. They don't know what the heck, where, and what, and when. It's all broke down. Eilers are called tachlis, are called reaction tachlis. And he could, the blind leading the, and he could, stumbling in the dark, and the ganze do it. So somebody said to me, I think it was his other interesting. Who was it? It was one of the guys. So he said he met up with a guy on the Mitzrayim. And this guy said to him, nowadays, he said, either you're a Chabadnik or you're an Arab. He said, either one of the two. It was a friar. He said he's come to the conclusion that if you're not a Chabadnik, so this Pearl corrected him. He said, wait a minute, Lo Stam Chabadnik, you're Mishchis. He said, if you're a Mishchis, then you could. If not, you're an Arab. An Arab, but like that. They was racist, I said, and you see, all these guys are all different ways. They'll say, give it all to them, it's all there. They're all Arabs, you know. Even the Hamas, what more Arabs? Yes, all Arabs. Give say. And I've been even mentioned that should know better. They say, well, you're going to give me some money? Give them all the Arabs. I remember, I was very impressed with that statement. I was very impressed. Nowadays, either you're a Chabadnik or you're talking. Yechiyat Yimeinu Mareinu, Rabbeinu Melech Mashiach Le'ilum